Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the Godot tutorial, your first game. I've been putting it off a little bit because I was waiting on my new microphone to come in. I know the sound quality wasn't that great for the first 2 videos, but I have my new mic in. I think it'll sound great. I'm really excited to finish up this tutorial, so let's go ahead and get started. Where we left off is the HUD portion of our game. So it says the final piece of our game needs... the final piece our game needs is a UI, which is a interface to display things like a score, game over message, and restart button. Create a new scene, add the canvas layer node named HUD. HUD stands for heads up display, an informational display that appears as an overlay on top of the game view. Alright, so let's go ahead and move this tutorial off to the side. I'm going to fire up Godot, and we will work on building our HUD and finish up this game. So create a new scene. So let's go ahead and say scene, new scene, and then add a canvas layer node named HUD. So let's filter canvas. Oh, let's say new node or other node, canvas layer. Create, and we will rename that to HUD. The canvas layer node lets us draw our UI elements on a layer above the rest of the game. So the information it displays isn't covered up by any game elements like the player or mobs. The HUD needs to display the following information: a score changed by the score timer, a message, a start button to begin the game. The basic node for the UI elements is control. To create our UI, we'll first use 2 types of control nodes, label and button. Create the following as children of the HUD node. So we need 2 labels, a button, and a timer. So let's go ahead and add those. Label. Second label. Button and timer. Oop. We don't want timer to be a child of button. Let's fix that. There we are. And the first label is going to be score label. Second label will be message. Button will be start button. And the timer will be message timer. Okay guys, so we have our 2 labels made, named score label and message, and then our start button and our message timer. Next thing we want to do, let's see, it's going to have us add the, custom font into our score label. So let's go ahead and select score label, and it tells us to put a number here in the text field. We'll just go ahead and put 0. And here it gets actually a little tricky. So it wants us to add the custom font under custom fonts on the inspector over here. But if you notice, there is no longer a custom fonts section, and this is a change for Godot 3.4. So what we actually want to do is we want to expand theme overrides, and then here fonts, and we'll change, by default it's empty here, so we'll select font, and then empty, we'll say new dynamic font, and then we'll expand font again, and then font data, we'll say load, and then it's going to open up our asset folder or our directory, and we'll go to assets, fonts, and we'll pick the selected font for the game, this Zolonium regular TTF file. So we'll say open, and that's going to set our font. So if you're following along the tutorial, just keep in mind that not every part of this tutorial has been updated for Godot 3.4, so there might be some variations. This is one of them. Let's see, so we've picked our font. Let's see, we've loaded it. So we must pick the size. So let's say settings, size, and we'll say 64. And looks like that's all we're doing. So once you've done this on score label, you can click the down arrow next to dynamic font property and choose copy, then paste into the same place as the two other control nodes. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it's wanting us to do here. So what I'm going to do is just going to ahead and set the font on message and start button. I'm not quite sure how to copy it over, so let's go ahead and come in here and message. We're going to leave blank the text for now. Let's just go ahead and get the font set. So dynamic font load assets font. There we go. Settings 64 to the size. And we need to do the button as well. .64 for our button, and we'll load up our font asset. There we go. Let's go ahead and select our score here. We'll zoom in. Let's see. So that's our score. Anchors and margins control. Control nodes have a position and size, but they also have anchors and margins. Anchors define the origin, the reference point for the edges of the node. Margins update automatically when you move or resize a control node. They represent the distance from the control node's edges to its anchor. So arrange nodes as shown here. Let's see here. That's our start button. Let's go ahead and put some text in there. Start. We have our score of 0, and we need our message, and we'll say dodge the, zoom out a little bit so I can see what I'm typing. Dodge the creeps. Alright, now that we got our text filled in, it gives us the option here in the tutorial to precisely place our elements for score timer or score label, our message, and our button. In this case, I just kind of put them right in the place where they need to be. You can go through and change your alignment, auto wrap, and whatnot if you like, but we'll just continue on. So on the message timer, it says set the wait time to 2 and the one shot property to on. So let's find our message timer and we'll put the wait time to 2, turn on one shot, and it says now add this script to the HUD. And we'll come up to HUD, we'll say add script. Create, and we'll say we have a signal. Signal start underscore game. The start game signal tells the main node that the button has been pressed. So we need to add the function. We'll say function show underscore message text colon, and then say dollar message, because we're accessing our message node dot text equals text. We'll say dollar message dot show dollar message timer dot start. So this function is called when we want to display the message temporarily, such as get ready. Func show underscore game underscore over colon show message and our message will be game over. Yield dollar message timer comma timeout. Dollar message dot text equals dodge the slash new, that's a new line character, creeps exclamation point message dot show. And this is make a one-shot timer and wait for it to finish. Yield get underscore tree dot creates timer pass value 1 comma timeout. Start button dot show. So this function is called when the player loses. It will show game over for 2 seconds, then return to the title screen after a brief pause and show the start button. When you need to pause for a brief time, and an alternative to using timer node is to use the screen's create timer function. This can be useful to add delays such as in the above code where we want to wait some time before showing the start button. Let's see, so we need another function here. Function update underscore score. Pass the value of score, colon, score label dot text equals string score. So this function will be called by main whenever the score changes. Connect the timeout signal of the message timer and the press signal of the start button to add the following code to the new functions. Okay, so now that we've added update score function to our script here, we need to connect the timeout signal of the message timer and the press signal of the start button and add some additional functions. So let's select our score label, and from the inspector we'll go to node. Oh, nope, sorry. Start button, and we'll say pressed. We'll connect that to HUD, and message timer and we want to connect timeouts. Okay, so let's see. On start button pressed, what we want to do is $start button dot hide, and we'll emit the signal start game. Then on message timer, we'll say $message dot hide. So now now that we have all our functions defined, we're going to connect our HUD to the main. So let's Control S, we'll save. See, go back to our main scene here, and that's main.tscn. And from main, we will add, or excuse me, we will instance HUD. Okay, now that we've added HUD to our main scene, we need to come over here and select HUD, and we're going to collect our start game signal to our new game function. We'll do that, select HUD, from the inspector go to node. If you haven't selected that, we'll right click start game, say connect, and then we're connecting to a script on our main, and we're going to connect that to new underscore game, say connect, and that has made our connection. And then in the new game, update the score and display, update the score display and show the get ready message. So we'll say $HUD dot update score. We'll pass the value of score. So $HUD dot show message, and we'll pass the text of get space ready. In the game over, we need to call the corresponding HUD functions. So let's find game over. $HUD dot message. $HUD dot show game over. $HUD dot show game over. And it says finally add on score timer timeout to keep the display in sync with the changing score. On score timer timeout. Here we go, on score timer timeout, score, and we'll say HUD dot update score, and we'll pass the variable score. Okay, so the last piece we added was our HUD.update underscore score, passing the variable score to that function. And it says we are ready to play our project. So you gotta come over here to this play button, hit play, and if it may ask you to select your main scene. It may not, mine's not gonna ask me to. You can just click play, and if it does, choose main.tscn. So let's go ahead and play. And here's our game. We have our score timer, or our score label here as 0, dodge the creeps. We'll click start, get ready, and here we go. Oh, and I'm terrible at my own game. All right, so let's try again. Okay, so this looks pretty good. There we go, game over. Go back to our title screen, start. You can notice my text is a little bit misaligned. You can go back and fix that. Use your anchors and margins and clean that up a little bit. We're just going to continue on through the tutorial. Let's close this. Looks like the last piece is going to be removing the old creeps. Let's see, if you play until game over and start a new game right away, the creeps from the previous game may still be on the screen. It would be better if they all disappeared at the start of the new game. We just need a way to tell all the mobs to remove themselves. Let's see if we can trigger that actually. Yep, so you can see the mobs kind of start, they're still there before the game's actually restarted. So let's close that. And it says in the mob scene, select the root node. So let's find our mob scene, mob.tscn. Select the root node and click the node tab. So our rigid body is the root node. Node tab, and we're going to click groups, and you can type a new group name and click add. Come over here, groups, we'll go choose mobs and click add. It says now all mobs in the mobs group. Now all mobs will be in the mobs group. We can then add the following line to our game over function in main. So let's come back to our main scene here, and this is going to go in our script, and we're looking for the game over function. Just game over. So get underscore tree dot call underscore group. Let's say mobs. That's what we named our group. Comma Q underscore free. And it says the call group function calls the named function on every node in the group. In this case, we're telling every mob to delete itself, and that's what that Q free is. Let's go ahead and save that again, and we'll play our game and see if that cleans up. I'll click start. There we go, game over, and you can see all our mobs immediately disappeared. Perfect. So the last little bit says finishing up. We've now completed all the functionality for our game. Below are some remaining steps to add a bit more juice to improve the game experience. Feel free to expand on the gameplay on your own with your own ideas. And that's where we're going to end this tutorial. If you want to go through, add things like backgrounds, sound effects, keyboard shortcuts, you're more than welcome to do that. It'd be a great learning experience for you. Go through, have fun with it, you know, modify the game however you like. But like I said, I'm going to end the tutorial here so I can move on to some additional videos to put out for everyone. I really appreciate you staying with me and watching. Once again, if you got anything out of this video, please like it. It would do wonders for the channel. Please subscribe if you're interested in watching more content, and ring the bell if you want to be notified every time we release content. Thank you so much again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.